Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English in Habits. Transform your life one step at a time. I'm Jake.
And I'm Eva. We're so excited you're here with us today. This podcast is designed especially for English learners who want to improve their language skills while learning about personal development.
That's right, Eva. Today, we're diving deep into one of our favorite topics, building better habits. Now, when we say habits, we're talking about things you do regularly, almost automatically, like brushing your teeth every morning. That's a habit.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing about habits is that they can completely transform your life. But here's the thing, Jake. Many people struggle with creating good habits and breaking bad ones. Why do you think that is?
Well, Ava, I think it's because people try to change too much, too fast. They want to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for 2 hours, eat perfectly, learn a new language, and read for an hour, all starting tomorrow. But that's like trying to climb Mount Everest when you've never climbed a hill before.
Oh, that's such a great comparison. You know, I used to be exactly like that. Last January, I decided I was going to completely change my life. I was going to wake up at 5:30, meditate for 20 minutes, go for a run, eat a healthy breakfast, and practice Spanish for 30 minutes, all before work.
Let me guess, it lasted about 3 days.
Try 2 days. By day 3, I was back to hitting the snooze button 5 times and grabbing a coffee and donut on my way to work. I felt terrible about myself. But then I learned about something called atomic habits.
Ooh, that's a great concept to explain to our listeners. Atomic here doesn't mean nuclear or explosive. It means very, very small, like an atom, which is the smallest part of matter. So atomic habits are tiny, small habits that seem almost too easy to matter.
Right. Instead of trying to run for 30 minutes, you might start by just putting on your running shoes. Instead of reading for an hour, you might read just 1 page. The idea is to make the habit so small that you can't fail.
I love this approach because it works with how our brains function. You see, our brains love routines. They use less energy when we do familiar things. But they resist big, sudden changes because change feels dangerous and requires a lot of mental energy.
Exactly. So let's talk about some practical strategies our listeners can use. Jake, what's the first step someone should take if they want to build a new habit?
Great question, Ava. The first step is to choose just one habit. I repeat, just one. I know it's tempting to change everything at once, but resist that temptation. Focus all your energy on one small change.
And make it ridiculously small. I mean, embarrassingly small. If you want to start exercising, don't commit to going to the gym for an hour. Commit to doing 1 push-up. If you want to learn English vocabulary, don't try to learn 50 new words a day. Start with just 1 word.
Ava, I think you should tell them about your water drinking story.
Ooh, yes. So, I knew I needed to drink more water. I was drinking maybe 1 glass a day, which is terrible for your health. But instead of trying to drink 8 glasses immediately, I decided to drink just 1 extra sip every time I walked past my kitchen.
And what happened?
Well, after a few weeks, taking a sip became automatic. Then I started taking 2 sips, then filling up a small cup, then a bigger cup. Now, 6 months later, I easily drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day without even thinking about it.
That's the power of starting small and being consistent. Consistency, that means doing something regularly, not just once or twice. Consistency is more important than perfection.
Absolutely. Which brings us to another important strategy, habit stacking. This is when you attach a new habit to an existing habit. For example, after I pour my coffee in the morning, I will write down 1 thing I'm grateful for.
I use habit stacking for my English learning, too. After I check my email in the morning, which I always do, I spend 5 minutes reading one English news article. The existing habit of checking email triggers my new habit of reading English.
That's brilliant, Jake. Our listeners can definitely use this technique. Maybe after I brush my teeth, I will practice English pronunciation for 2 minutes in the mirror. Or after I sit down for lunch, I will review 5 English vocabulary words.
Now, let's talk about something really important. What to do when you mess up. Because you will mess up. Everyone does. Ava, what's your advice when someone breaks their habit streak?
Oh, this is so crucial. First, be kind to yourself. Don't say things like, I'm terrible at this, or I have no willpower. Would you speak to a good friend that way? Of course not. So don't speak to yourself that way either.
Exactly. There's actually a simple rule I learned: never miss twice. If you miss one day, that's okay. Life happens. But make sure you get back on track the very next day. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the beginning of a bad habit.
That's such a helpful rule. You know, I think one reason people struggle with habits is because they have unrealistic expectations. They think building a habit should be easy and quick, like in the movies where someone decides to change and then boom, they're completely different in 2 weeks.
Right. But real change is more like growing a tree. You plant the seed, that's your small habit, and you water it every day. For weeks, maybe months, you don't see much happening above ground. But underground, the roots are growing stronger.
And then one day, you notice the tree is taller. Then it has more leaves. Eventually, it's providing shade and oxygen and beauty. But it took time, patience, and daily care.
I love that metaphor, Ava. Speaking of patience, let's talk about how long it actually takes to form a habit. People often say 21 days, but recent research suggests it's more like 66 days on average. That's about 2 months.
But here's the thing. It varies a lot depending on the person and the habit. Some simple habits might stick in 3 weeks, while complex ones might take 6 months or more. The key is to focus on the process, not the timeline.
Exactly. And speaking of the process, let's give our listeners some specific examples of good starter habits for English learners. Ava, what would you suggest?
Great question. Here are some atomic habits for English learning. Read one sentence in English every morning. Listen to one English song and look up one word you don't know. Write one sentence in English in a journal every day. Practice saying English phrases out loud every time you see your reflection.
Those are perfect examples. Small, specific, and easy to do consistently. Now, I want to share a personal story about the power of environment in building habits. Last year, I wanted to read more books, but I kept getting distracted by my phone.
Oh, this is a common problem. What did you do?
Well, instead of relying on willpower, which is limited and gets weaker throughout the day, I changed my environment. I put my book on my pillow, so I had to move it to go to bed. And I put my phone charger in another room so my phone wasn't next to my bed.
Smart. So your environment was set up for success. The good choice, reading, was easy, and the bad choice, scrolling on your phone, was harder.
Exactly. So for English learners, you could change your phone's language to English. Put English vocabulary cards on your bathroom mirror, or set your computer's screensaver to display English quotes or words.
I love these ideas. Environment design is so powerful because it works even when your motivation is low. And let's be honest, we all have low motivation days.
Absolutely. Which reminds me, Eva, we should talk about the difference between motivation and discipline. Many people think they need more motivation, but what they really need is better systems.
This is such an important distinction. Motivation is that excited feeling you get when you decide to change. It's like the spark that starts a fire. But motivation comes and goes. It's not reliable.
Right. Discipline, on the other hand, is like the steady fuel that keeps the fire burning. It's doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it. But discipline is also limited and can get exhausted.
So, the real secret is creating systems. That means organized methods or processes that make good habits easier and bad habits harder. When you have good systems, you need less motivation and less discipline.
Perfect explanation, Eva. For example, if you want to practice English speaking, you could schedule a weekly video call with a language exchange partner. The system, the scheduled appointment, helps you stay consistent even when you don't feel motivated.
Yes, or if you want to expand your English vocabulary, you could use a spaced repetition app that automatically reminds you to review words at the optimal time. The system does the thinking for you.
Now, let's talk about tracking your habits. Some people love habit trackers, apps or charts where you mark off each day you complete your habit. Others find tracking stressful or boring. What's your take on this, Eva?
I think tracking can be really helpful, especially in the beginning, because it makes your progress visible. There's something satisfying about seeing a chain of check marks or X's on a calendar. It gives you a sense of accomplishment.
I agree. But I also think it's important not to become obsessed with the tracking itself. The goal isn't to have a perfect streak. The goal is to become the kind of person who has good habits.
That's such a wise point, Jake. It's about identity change. Instead of saying, I want to learn English, say, I am someone who studies English daily. Instead of, I want to exercise, say, I am someone who takes care of my health.
Exactly. When you start seeing yourself as the type of person who has good habits, the behaviors become natural expressions of your identity, not things you have to force yourself to do.
You know what? I think this is a perfect time to remind our amazing listeners about something special we have for you. If you're finding this conversation helpful, please hit that subscribe button. We release new episodes every week, and we don't want you to miss any of our tips and strategies.
And Eva, don't forget to tell them about the bonus material.
Oh, yes. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to download a free PDF with extra habit-building worksheets, vocabulary lists, and practice exercises. It's completely free and designed specifically for English learners who want to build better habits.
That PDF includes templates for habit tracking, examples of habit stacks for English learning, and even some common phrases you can use when talking about goals and habits in English. It's really valuable stuff.
Definitely download that. Now, let's talk about one more important aspect of habit building, the power of community and accountability. Jake, why is it helpful to share your goals with others?
Great question. When you tell someone about your goal, several things happen. First, you're more likely to follow through because you don't want to let that person down. Second, they can offer support and encouragement when things get tough. Third, they might have helpful advice or resources to share.
Plus, many people are working on similar goals. If you tell your friends you're trying to improve your English, you might discover that one of them is also learning a language, and you can practice together or share resources.
Exactly. You could even start a small English learning group with friends or colleagues. Meet once a week to practice conversation, share new words you've learned, or discuss English books or movies you've enjoyed.
I love that idea. Social habits, habits you do with other people, are often easier to maintain because they combine personal improvement with social connection.
And speaking of social connection, we want to hear from you, our listeners. What habits are you trying to build? What challenges are you facing? You can leave comments or send us messages through our social media. We read every single one.
We really do, and sometimes we'll feature listener questions or success stories in future episodes. Your experiences could help inspire someone else who's struggling with the same challenges.
Now, as we start wrapping up today's episode, let's do a quick recap of the main points we've covered. Eva, what's the first key takeaway?
Start small. Choose just one habit and make it so tiny that you can't fail. one push-up, one page, one English sentence. Whatever it is, make it small and specific.
Perfect. The second key point is consistency over perfection. It's better to do something small every day than something big once a week. And if you miss a day, get back on track immediately. Never miss twice.
Third, use habit stacking to attach new habits to existing routines. This makes it easier to remember and creates natural triggers for your new behaviors.
Fourth, change your environment to support your goals. Make good choices easier and bad choices harder by organizing your physical space thoughtfully.
And finally, focus on identity change, not just behavior change. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? And then let your habits reflect that identity.
Those are fantastic takeaways, Eva. I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. Building better habits is not about perfection or dramatic transformation overnight. It's about becoming slightly better each day.
Absolutely, Jake. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you'll be 37 times better by the end of that year. Small changes compound over time to create remarkable results.
And remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every person with strong, healthy habits started exactly where you are now, with a decision to take one small step forward.
So be patient with yourself, celebrate small victories, and trust the process. Your future self will thank you for the habits you start building today.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of English and Habits. Transform your life one step at a time. I'm Jake.
And I'm Eva. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and grab that free PDF from the description. It's packed with practical tools to help you on your journey.
Until next time, remember, small steps, big dreams, and keep practicing your English.
See you next week, everyone.